Good morning, everybody. In this video, we're going to talk about traveling, but we're going to talk about more long stays overseas. I am getting ready to go back to Thailand here in about a month and a half. I already had one, but added a second one, is how do you protect your electronics overseas? First and foremost, I'm going to share with you a story, because I used to live in Thailand for 1 year. An important story, that way you know and you're aware why you want to do this. And the second thing is, I'm going to share with you my different products that I have here. So let's get rocking and rolling. Now, like I said, the next month and a half, I'm getting ready to go back to Thailand. So I'm getting my stuff around, slowly getting my visa stuff around. And it's really the perfect time when I'm actually going through it to do a video on it and share the knowledge. Just in case you want to do this, just in case, even if you travel for a couple weeks, you still want to do it. But if you only need somewhere for a couple weeks, you can live without your electronics for a couple weeks. But if you're going anywhere for a month, a couple months, a few months, 6 months, or a year, you're going to want to listen up and want to do this stuff. So let's move on to my story. What did I learn in Thailand by living in Thailand for a year? And I was there for a whole year, and during rainy season and their summer. It's pretty much 2 seasons over in Asia, in Thailand, Philippines, Malaysia, and stuff like that. It's pretty much rainy season and hot summer. What did I learn? Okay, especially dealing with this topic of making sure your electronics are safe. Okay, especially you don't want a great big surge to go through your unit and ruin your electronics, ruin your laptop, ruin your phones, or your iPads, and so forth and so forth. When I lived in Thailand, I lived in Phuket, Patong. I stayed for 1 year, and I lived the whole time in a very, very nice resort. So I didn't live the cheapest, okay? So I don't want people to say, well, he just lived in the cheapest places, that's why it was occurring. No, I stayed in very nice resorts. I stayed in the same resort the whole time. But this was even occurring in a very, very nice resort that you would think they would have their crap together a little bit. But this is what I learned, is when you stay in the Philippines, when you stay in Thailand, you stay during rainy season, and it rains really hard there. Sometimes it sprinkles, but sometimes it's a downpour. Sometimes it can be a downpour for 10 minutes, stops, dries up, you go on with your day. Sometimes it can be a downpour all through the day. Sometimes when you're during rainy season, it can downpour, 3-4 days a week, something like that. But this is what I noticed, is when it's raining, it's a downpouring, the electrics are turned off all the time in the resort I was staying. And you might not notice, if you went somewhere for 2 weeks, you might sit there and say, well, I've been here and it never happened to me, because you only went there for a week or two. Maybe with that week or two, you were just lucky nothing happened. But when you live somewhere for a year, you stay in the same place, well, you're going to experience more things occurring, more things happening, positive and negative. And this is kind of on the negative side. We can protect ourselves, but it's more on the negative side. Like it's happened in that year, the electric would turn off all the time. I mean, I didn't count how many times it happened, but it turned off all the time. It seemed, pretty regularly, almost like, once a month or something like that would turn off, come back on. Sometimes it would turn off and it would be off for the night, then it would pop back on in the morning, so forth and so forth. So if you know anything about engineering or just an experience, lots of times when your electric shuts off like that because of a thunderstorm, sometimes what can occur is it can send a surge throughout the electrical units, throughout your electrical plugins, throughout your place or throughout the resort. And if you don't have a surge protector, you have nothing really protecting it. It's going to put a surge. It's going to bring a surge through your laptop, and it's going to fry your motherboard. It's going to ruin your laptop. And then lots of times you can fix it, but it's a pricey fix. Same things can happen with your phones. Same things can happen with your iPads. That's what I really noticed about Thailand when I lived there, is how often the electric shut off when it rained. But that's one of the things I noticed. And that's why, having some type of universal plugin, we need a universal plugin. This is a little bit cheaper one. I think it was like $35, something like that. And if you're not familiar with this stuff, is I'm coming from the States, so all my stuff is going to have everything from the States, the regular plugin, and it has USB in here. So that's kind of cool too, because I don't always have to have the plugin. I can just use the USB. But then when you're traveling, country hopping and stuff like that, you don't know what country you might hop to. Just because maybe your visa's done, you got different type of connectors that you can use. Like no matter where you are, you can use them. Okay, so it comes with a ton of different connectors. Okay, now this one looks like it's a little surge protector, but it's a little bit cheaper. Now the first one I got was this one. Now this one was a little bit more expensive. This one is a surge protector, so it's a little bit bigger. It has the plugins. It has USB here, has an on and off switch. So this one's a little bit more quality. I forget how much it's, but I think this is like 60 bucks. But it has the same thing. It has different connections, it has the power cord, so forth and so forth. But with this, you know, kind of to wrap this up, not to keep this super long, is this is common sense. Maybe you didn't think about it. It's like, oh yeah, that's a good idea. I need to put this in my luggage. And I got this last time, the first time I went to Thailand, stayed a year. It worked wonderful. I always had all my stuff hooked up to it. Every time the electric shut off, had no problems with it. This one I just recently picked up just to have two of them, just to have like a backup. I spent a little bit less on this one because this time going back, I'm gonna have a condo, so the unit's gonna be a little, maybe not so much bigger, but a little bit bigger than a resort, a standard, you know, hotel room, you know, because you're gonna have like a small little kitchen, small little living room, and an off bedroom in your condo. Condo's a little bit smaller there. That's not the video for this, but because you're used to the United States, you're used to the size, you know, condos are bigger, one bedrooms are bigger in the United States, so it does take some getting used to. But that's a whole nother topic for a video. But anyway, hopefully this video helped. Leave a comment below, especially if you have questions, because I do travel a lot. I have lived overseas. I am going back for another 6 months, and I'm going to be back here in the States in May, this coming May, because my niece is getting married. So I'm going to come back for her wedding, then sometime next summer, then go back to Thailand or go back overseas. I don't know Thailand yet. I'm saying Thailand now, but it could change. You never know. But I'm definitely going back overseas. Well, hopefully this helped, and I'll see you in the next video.